I was a graduate student at the University of Pennsylvania, and my mentor was Elliot Steller, and he's probably the #1 person in the regulation of appetite, feeding regulation as we currently call it. And he, perhaps above all other scientists, understood that feeding regulation is a combination of physiology and behavior. So I was in his lab for a year, and then after that, he handed me off to the University of Washington because they had the only joint PhD program in both physiology and psychology. So I got my PhD in both, and he handed me to his own former student, who was the director, or associate director, then director of the Primate Center. With Elliot Steller, I worked on humans and tried to understand human appetite regulation. And when I went to the Primate Center, I did so because humans didn't want the things that I wanted to do. Specifically, while I was at Penn, we were putting tubes into the stomach of volunteers, obese people, and recording what was going on in their stomach and their intestines. But the longest they would really do that voluntarily was about 1 day. Mm-hmm. And we put tubes into the stomachs of monkeys for a long time, like many months. And consequently, we could really study them under constant conditions with a constant diet. Mm-hmm. So primates became the subject of my research for my doctoral dissertation and ever thereafter. The biggest progress in the field of obesity recently has been 4 new anti-obesity agents passed by the FDA in the past year or year and a half. That's extraordinary because we had gone 10 or 12 years without a single new agent. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were taking the view, oh, we're never going to get something through the FDA. Well, the FDA has realized and recognized, as has the AMA, American Medical Association, that it is time to understand that obesity is a disease, that it has huge consequences, diabetes being one of them, but many others as well, and that finding effective means to treat obesity is really important. Well, I think the exciting part is the awards, and the awards to students especially, mm-hmm. to pre-docs and post-docs. That is why I think the nutrition field is flourishing, because we take these young scientists, bring them into active, happy labs, mm-hmm. and then reward that. Reward it with junior fellowships, with seed money, with accolades, which are always nice. Mm-hmm. And I think nutrition, the field, both ASCN and ASN, have been very good about that, bringing their next generation of scientists along. And I've also seen the field as one that welcomes young scientists. You don't have to be an elder scientist to chair a symposium, mm-hmm. for example. And that's great. I think that makes the whole field very fertile and very growth-oriented. And I think that's why the society has succeeded so well. Well, I guess this is a good moment to mention some of the things I think young scientists in our field should do.
That would be wonderful.
And the first is get involved in ASN and get involved in as many ways as possible. Volunteer for committees and then chair the committee. And, volunteer to be on the program, submit abstracts every year, not just once in a while, but every year, more than one if possible. And participate in an active way, because I think you get back what you put in. And I started, as you can tell, very early, putting in abstracts to every nutrition meeting and every physiology meeting, and they wouldn't miss one, because that's where you get the interchange with other scientists, where they see your work, you get them to give you feedback. Posters are great because you have that kind of interchange. And I love the way this is formatted, this meeting, where there's really a big chunk of time for visiting posters, and without a lot of conflict with a keynote speaker over here and a panel over here. And I think that makes the poster experience more rewarding.
Definitely.
So I would say get involved and stay involved early, and pick good mentors. I think that was really the important thing in my early career, was having just wonderful mentors.